Hello my friends, today is actually something a little bit different. We're doing an update video because yes, I did actually upload a YouTube video yesterday, like less than 24 hours ago, and I'm having to make another video because basically we've got a little bit of a updates. So pretty much, I uploaded a YouTube video speaking about the Try Guys situation, and if you don't know what this is, pretty much in a quick summary, there's this group channel, a bunch of blokes where they do a lot of things and they try a lot of challenges here and there. It's good, it's fun, but it did turn out that one of the people on the Try Guys actually failed the most damaging trial and challenge of all, and that was obviously the Try Not to Cheat on Your Wife challenge, because yes, it did come out that this guy, Ned Fulmer, was cheating on his wife, and I think what the most criminal part of this actually is that he was caught doing this at a Harry Styles concert, and honestly, I still can't really wrap my head around that. It's probably one of the most mind-baffling stories I've heard whilst covering all the things on the internet that I cover, that a fully grown man with an internet audience thought, you know what, where am I going to go cheat on my wife? At a Harry Styles concert. My friend, if you're going to cheat on your wife, please don't. I have to say, please don't. But if you are going to do it, maybe don't do it where everybody's entire demographic exists, and obviously that is a Harry Styles concert. But yeah, in my video that I uploaded yesterday, I spoke about this situation and actually gave an update to what was going on there, and I also spoke about the idolization of influencers and how it is actually dangerous to continuously worship content creators who you do not know outside of what they choose to show you on the internet. Honestly, my friends, I thought this was a very concise video where I pretty much nailed every single point, only to discover 2 hours later, the Try Guys then came out with an update, a response. So pretty much my entire video, put it in the bin. Well, no, not really. The video actually still very much holds up. And actually, given everything that's come out in the latest response video from the Try Guys, I actually was pretty much bang on with all of my points, and everything that I said about idolization of influencers being a bad thing. Well, it's honestly only amplified given everything that's come out in the last 12 hours. Because yes, the Try Guys responded with a video titled What Happened, and in less than 24 hours, this video has millions upon millions of views. And honestly, my friends, full jokes aside for a second, I feel like this video has honestly only made this situation oh so much worse, because usually when like a big influencer gets exposed and the friends have to come out and speak about the situation, you're usually gonna get like a PR response. You're gonna get people being like, oh, we're reading from what a lawyer's telling us to read, and maybe it is that in this situation, but what is different here is that you can actually see real human emotion. And I know, shock horror, influencer is actually emotional, and it isn't disingenuous where they make you look at their cute little puppy for 20 minutes. In this situation, what we have here are three friends which actually seem very betrayed, very upset, and notably very, very angry.
Ned Fulmer is no longer working with the Try Guys. By now, we're assuming you've seen the Reddit threads and TikToks and tweets and news articles. We want to give you a timeline of what's transpired and some transparency.
Honestly, I'm not really easily scared, but when I look into Eugene's eyes, I'm honestly kind of terrified. Like, I know he's not angry at me, hopefully anyway, but I'm looking at these eyes, and this is the eyes of a man who is genuinely angry, and honestly, for good reason too, because this response video honestly only makes the situation insanely worse for Ned Fulmer, and honestly I think it exposes him to an extent of where it's just not even disappointing at this point, and it honestly just makes me ask the question of why and how did you think you were going to get away with this, but mainly, why would you do this? Why would you betray not only your wife and your kids, but your co-workers and your best friends? It's just a sickening situation, and it only progressively gets worse and worse as more things come out. And at this point of time, I believe Ned hasn't really said anything other than his original statement and his wife's original statement. And honestly, I'm not going to be shocked if he doesn't come out and say any more, because I really don't have any respect for this guy at this point. And honestly, I think he is a little bit of a coward. I think if you can't look your wife in the eyes and tell them that you're not happy with them and you think you should go in separate ways, which obviously is a hard thing, it's a brave thing to do, it's an honest and real thing to do. But what did he do? Obviously, he went and cheated. He went behind the backs of everybody, despite putting off the facade that he's this lovely, wonderful husband that should be idolized by everyone. It's just sick and honestly disappointing. And I've seen a lot of people being like, it's not that deep. He didn't break any laws. And it's like, I love that the breaking of laws are what we now cast our moral judgment on when it comes to people in general. Like, I think our minds have been kind of warped so much by so many influencers being disgusting wrong-uns that when we see somebody do something which isn't necessarily illegal, we then think, oh, well, I can put a pass on it. It's like, no, guys, the law isn't the judgment on whether one thing is moral or the other thing is immoral. It certainly doesn't work like that, and especially in this case. And this situation is obviously absolutely massive, and I don't think it's for the most part because people want, a little bit of drama. People like to gossip. Obviously, some people do, but I think the reason this situation is so massive is because of everything that I did just say. This guy was meant to be the lovely, perfect father figure person on the internet, but it turned out the entire thing was a lie, and it has shocked pretty much everybody, but that includes the Try Guys themselves, because a big question was, did they actually know that Ned was doing what he was doing behind the scenes? And it turns out that according to the Try Guys, they pretty much only found out when we found out.
On Labor Day weekend, multiple fans alerted us that they had seen Ned and an employee engaging in public romantic behavior. We reached out to check on that employee. Ned confirmed the reports and since confirmed that this had been going on for some time, which was obviously very shocking to us, and we just want you to know that we had no idea this was going on. All of that information was just as shocking to us as all of this has been for you this week.
Now, I am going to keep repeating this statement throughout this entire video, but honestly, what I think this response video does is make this situation for Ned a million times worse. Because we now know his best friends found out that the person that they created a business with, a social media empire with, they grew up with, they built in general the foundations of their lives with, they found out that this guy was betraying all of them via fans sending them that information. This guy could not get the bravery or not the bravery, but at least the balls to go up to them and say, you know what, guys, I've been a piece of shit recently. What has actually pushed this guy into coming out and speaking about and how he regrets his actions wasn't because, the guy's got balls. It's because the guy was forced to. Do I think that Ned from the Dry Guys would have continued his affair if this wasn't exploded into a massive social media situation? Absolutely I do. I don't think that this guy would have stopped the affair. I think it would have only continuously gotten worse and worse, but the guy has been forced into stopping and pretending that he's actually trying to become a better person because guess what? Social media said, you know what, Ned? This is not a good thing and we do not want to support you anymore. And I think it only does just show that when you look at the guy's response on Twitter where he's like, family should have always been my priority, but I lost focus and had a consensual workplace relationship. What does that even mean? Why are we using the phrase consensual workplace relationship? What you did was you fucking cheated on your wife and you betrayed everybody in your life that loves you. And that is disappointing, but you're sugarcoating over it in this situation by saying it was a consensual workplace relationship. I mean, am I meant to praise you because you had consent? I mean, that's not a praiseworthy thing. That's just a normal standard fucking thing. Of course you should have consent. I'm not gonna praise somebody for being like, oh, I asked for permission, it was a two-way fit. It's like, mate, that's I don't care. Like I do not care. And this response has clearly been written by a PR team, in my opinion. It's clear that the only reason he put this out was because he was caught out. And I think this response from the Try Guys themselves really does show that, given the fact that they discovered all of this via fans. Can you imagine how betrayed they felt? It's honestly kind of sickening to imagine. And as I said, you don't really have to look further than these guys' faces to see how distraught, frustrated, angry, and just in general devastated these blokes are that one of their best friends outright betrayed them and everything that they known about them. Because you've got to think, the public think this guy is a wonderful, lovely person. I can only imagine what these guys thought about him, what his wife thought about him, what his kids thought about him, what his friends and employees thought about him. So imagine how devastated they are. Now, yes, maybe they knew that the whole public persona might have been a little bit inaccurate and he may have been a bit of more of a sleazeball behind the scenes, but that doesn't necessarily mean that these guys knew that he was having an affair, and as they said, they did not know. And in fact, it actually lines up with what I said in my video, because in my previous video, I did speak and kind of speculate over a podcast clip from a month ago of where they were saying that they had a bad month, and what I kind of concluded from that was they probably found out about this situation at the beginning of September, and that lines up with Ned being edited out of videos and intros, and yeah, that's pretty much been confirmed. And I'm not claiming to be a prophet or anything, but at least I can say I was right in one situation. And I do have to clarify, I'm not proud of it. You know, the situation where I was actually right was to do with a bloke cheating on his wife at a Harry Styles concert. It's not my fucking proudest achievement, and it's definitely not going on my CV. But at least I can say I was right about something, all right? Let's get into this.
And thus began a 3-week process of engaging with employment lawyers, corporate lawyers, HR, PR, and more, in order to make sure we were taking all necessary steps. From the jump, we were acutely aware of just how contrary this was to the values of the company we've built and those of everyone who works here. This is something we took very seriously. We refused to sweep things under the rug. That is not who we are, and it's not what we stand for.
Now, I spoke in my previous video about how these people were basically being accused of snakes, and also a lot of people out there were being like, oh, there's probably more to the story here. There's probably things that we don't know, which, yeah, true, there may actually be things that we don't know, but ultimately, I don't think that necessarily any of that matters, and I also definitely, especially after seeing this video, do not think that the other 3 Try Guys are snakes, and I think dubbing these people as snakes is honestly just disrespectful and pretty invalidating of somebody's feelings, because my friends, these people, as I've said a million times, built an empire with this guy. They became beloved by millions, and it shows with the reaction to all of this news. So obviously, I can imagine that these people out of everybody would be devastated by all of this stuff. And not just because, oh, he cheated on his wife, that's really sad. No, not because of that. Because honestly, all of their reputations have been affected by this, because some people will be like, whether it's right or wrong, be like, oh, how did you guys not know about this? Did they know about this actually? And are there things we don't know? And are the other sleazeballs themselves? And you know, there's a lot of things which are going to be kind of looked into here, including the other 3 Try Guys. And no matter what, this situation is going to impact the brand. It is going to make things much more difficult for these guys, which they actually say in this video. And that is how a business works when you go into a co-owned business with other people. Your future potential actions are always going to implicate everybody surrounding you if they are also involved in co-ownership of a business. And that's exactly what was happening here. All 4 of these people knew that yes, if they did something bad, it's going to affect absolutely all of them. And yet, despite that, Ned thought to himself, you know what, boys, I don't need to think or worry about any of that stuff. I'm just gonna go pipe some random person, some employee that works for me and probably break some employee misconduct rules and just go fucking ruin everybody's lives. Because that may sound a bit, you know, a bit heartless. It may sound like I don't have any emotional attachment to it. And honestly, you'd be completely right. As I've said throughout all of these videos, I did not know who these guys were less than a week ago, but what has fascinated me about this is the facade of Ned Fulmer, the fact that this guy was so beloved and seen as this wonderful, amazing father who was basically a role model to so many, and it turned out that that whole thing over the last decade was a complete fucking lie. I'm not trying to be TMZ here, I am more just fascinated that yet again another influencer has turned out to be an awful person. Yet in this situation, it's a little bit more different because it seems that nobody actually knew, even his friends, that this guy was an awful person, which makes it even more insane. And yeah, in this video, there was also the mention of PR and legalities and stuff to do with, I guess, employer misconduct rules being broken. And again, that is another thing that Ned knew would be a potential problem if he cheated with an employee, yet the man still acted on it. And once again proved that, yeah, he does not really probably care about pretty much anybody other than himself, which is just not really a shock at this point, but we are continuously being proven that as the days go by. But there are even more repercussions when you get into contractual obligations, because the Try Guys actually confirmed that they had contracts and videos that they needed to put out, that they were contractually obliged to put out. And despite all of this, Ned still did what he did. And it's just so mad, because this guy had literally everything. He had a loving family, he had loving friends, he had a successful business with so many employees who have also been affected by it, but the man just could not fucking help himself. The man had to go to a fucking Harry Styles concert, which again is insane, and cheat on his wife. And I'm laughing because it's just so fucking mental how so many people would kill to be in the position that Ned was in, yet the bloke could not get enough of it. The man had to have more and more, and it's just insane.
We immediately removed Ned from work activities and engaged an HR professional to conduct a thorough review of the facts. We also opted to remove Ned from our releases pending the results of that review. Over a few weeks, that's included removing his section from videos, digitally removing him from others, and choosing not to feature him in our merch throws. Honestly, I want to give major props to our editing staff for how deftly they've handled that. There are several videos that we've deemed as fully unreleasable. You will never see them, and that is due to his involvement. And that's a decision that has cost us lots of money. We will not be able to recoup that money, but it's a decision we stand by proudly.
There are videos that were shot ahead of all this, right? We're going to be editing Ned out like the new season of Without a Recipe, and we're working with our editors and finding creative solutions to the footage. And we also have some branded videos that we've already committed to. So when you see a video that's sponsored in a few weeks and you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. Well, yeah, it is kind of weird. It's just how things are, and that's why.
Now, honestly, I do think this makes a lot of sense now, given that a lot of people were like, well, why are they editing them out of videos and not just scrapping the videos? Well, the videos cost a lot of money to make. And also, they, as they said, may be contractually obliged to put out certain videos. And Ned, knowing that, still fucked with these guys. And it's just worse and worse and worse the more you watch this video, because the guy has not only affected his friendships, but he's also affected his friends, well, ex-friends' financial stability, and made the employees of the company for some reason also look bad, because in these situations you're always going to get the fucking nut jobs that go after people that literally aren't involved whatsoever. There could be like a poor old little video editor who just, edits the TikTok videos and they're getting hounded or something like that. This happens in nearly every situation. And I do just want to say, don't be a fucking bellend. Don't be a Ned. Just have some respect for people, especially the ones that aren't involved in this situation. But even then, given everything that I've seen, I don't think anyone is really in the wrong here other than Ned. And that is only further proven in this video when they do indeed confirm that yes, Ned Fulmer is no longer a part of the Try Guys. And honestly, does this affect my life in any way on a day-to-day basis? Absolutely fucking not. I genuinely refuse to believe that the Try Guys existed longer than a week ago, but apparently they did, and it is obviously not good. I'm laughing and everything, but what else can you do? It's just the fact that this bloke, again, cheated at a fucking Harry Styles concert.
The three of us signed written consent of the members of Second Try LLC approving the removal of Ned as a manager and an employee. We chose not to rush into the announcement for a few reasons. Namely, there are real people who have been affected. And while we consider this a company matter, there's just also a family at the center of this.
Now, we were always planning on a public statement, and we're working towards that with our team. But in light of rapidly accelerating speculation, we knew we couldn't wait any longer. We were obviously incredibly shocked and deeply hurt by all of this. This is someone who we'd built a brand and a company with for 8 years. We feel saddened, not just personally, but on behalf of our staff and our fans who believed in us.
I don't know that we'll ever be able to fully articulate the pain we feel at this moment. It's hard to rewatch old videos that we love and are proud of. We're losing a friend, we're losing someone we built a company with, we have countless memories with. We just made a TV show together. I'm sure many of you feel the same way. It's weird. We're sorry that this ever happened, and we don't know what more to say.
There's also our staff of 20 strong who they just don't deserve the negative attention our brand is now getting because they didn't do anything. But they're our family, and they're some of the most talented, creative minds in the world, and our primary focus right now is making sure they feel comfortable and proud coming to work. The work they do never ceases to astound us, and frankly, there's just no world in which we could have navigated all of this without them.
You know, in a world of influencers being exposed for being absolutely fucking terrible human beings behind the scenes, it's really nice to see, and I know I've already said it, but it's nice to see some genuine emotion here, and you can genuinely tell, unless these guys are the best fucking actors on planet Earth, that they have been affected and devastated by this. But I do have to bring the question, which I introduced at the starting of this video, is why? Why would you do all of this? Is it selfishness? Is it power corrupting somebody? Because people have been speculating that this guy was being enabled by his friends. A lot of people on Reddit were basically saying that they were witness to Ned being sus around a lot of people out there who weren't his wife. But honestly, there is really no proof to actually prove that. So I can't take that and say it's definitely true. And what I can take from this is that this is just a guy who honestly, I mean, it might be a bit of a fucking shock. He's just a dick. Like, there's nothing more I can say if he is just a fucking dick. And in this video, bless these guys, they do say to remain respectful, particularly towards women in this situation, because obviously the internet is way more harsh on women than men. But I will not, honestly, I know it might sound bad, but I just cannot show any respect to Ned, particularly after seeing this response. Because to come to some form of conclusion here, I don't think that these guys have enabled this bad behavior in any way, shape, or form. Sure, they might have a private opinion on the guy which does differentiate between the public perception, but you know, I don't think that's an excuse in any way, shape, or form to how Ned has gone about his actions in the last few years. I don't really know the extent to these affairs, and I'm not going to go and speculate any further about them. I do just think this one part of the situation alone really does just show how fucking sad and depressing it is. But again, it's another case of shock horror and influencer not being who they showed themselves to be on the internet. And I think if there's one thing you can take from that, is when you see an influencer who is being portrayed to be the most perfect and amazing human being on planet Earth, usually get a big load of fucking salt and shove it in your mouth, because it's probably bullshit. It's probably a facade. Do I think the other Try Guys are perfect human beings? Absolutely not. Is that because of some drama in a situation? No. It's because human beings are not fucking perfect. And just because you like somebody's YouTube videos does not mean that they're perfect. If Mr. Beast went to a fucking horrible place and helped out a load of people in a horrible situation, it does not mean that Mr. Beast is a wonderful human being. Mr. Beast may have done a good thing, but I don't know the guy personally to really say that the guy is wonderful. And the same goes for Hollywood celebrities. The same goes for anybody, because these people choose what they want us to see. And I think people really need to start taking that into context, especially when it comes to social media influencers. This is a business. This is where people will do what they can do to make money. And in this situation, Ned Fulmer clearly realized that the brand of being an idealistic father and husband was the brand that he wanted to build, because he saw it as successful and he saw it as the money bringer. I'll end this situation by saying I think this response is very fair and concise, and honestly I think they could have been a bit more harsh if they really wanted to, but you know, they're obviously the bigger people in this situation, and I wish nothing but the best for these guys and nothing but the best for the people affected by Ned Fulmer's actions. I'm going to end the video here and say, please go watch my previous video where I go deeper into the idealization of influencers and also this situation, where you can see that I was indeed right about everything. But yeah, thanks for watching. I know this wasn't like a big, you know, highly edited video where I cut the cameras to other angles and stuff. This is because this was just an update video. Regular, better videos will resume in the next few days, where we will probably go back to speaking about another absolute fucking nut job on TikTok. Please follow inabber69 on Twitter, inabber on Instagram. Go subscribe to the podcast. All links are in the description. And yeah, subscribe to this channel, like the video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. I'm going to take a fucking few days off.